back to our pivotal footwork. We introduced the box step, which was attack, defend, attack, defend. Did we make a critical assumption that doesn't always hold up? Let's find out. Okay, let's start with, can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference between these two types of footwork? Blade work is actually the same. It's the footwork that's changing, okay? So here we go. First version. Okay, all right. Second version. Okay, all right. So feel free to play that back if you want to try to figure it out. The answer is, a while ago, we had a series called Pivotal Footwork, where we introduced the idea of optimizing how to switch sides using what we call the box step. This is sort of the most optimal way to rotate about your axis and be able to turn as quickly as possible. Okay, switching sides as quickly as possible. So when we introduced that, we did it and sort of implemented it in a very specific way, assuming, sort of taking advantage of the fact that, hey, when I'm pivoting forward, that's a good way to actually, advance on an opponent and throw an attack. And then as I switch and pivot to the other shoulder, I'm also naturally rotating backward. And that allows for a very nice flow between attack, defend, attack, defend. But is there ever a case where maybe I actually want to step forward with the defense and actually fade away with the attack? And that is the difference of what you were just seeing, right? So here is, if we use Aufstreichen as an example. So I'm attacking, defending, attacking, defending, attacking, defending, attacking, defending, right? So there's different versions for Aufstreichen with the different parries. So if I'm actually going to try to move forward with the defense, what does that start to look like? So defend, attack, offend, attack, defend, attack, right? So, and actually, let me show that from the side so you can kind of see it. Because one of the things that's pretty interesting about this kind of footwork, which we're going to go ahead and call the reverse box step. And I'll come back to that term in a minute. But what's nice about this is also you can sort of take advantage of some body mechanics, which are illustrated. You see this in medieval manuscripts. And it's interesting that it's a very organic thing that you can take advantage of and use, which is when you step forward, you get this nice lean. When you step away, you can do this nice lean away. So you get a nice void with this as well, as you're throwing an attack, but actually you can throw that attack with this extra void, which allows it to be used sort of as effectively a withdrawing cut, right? I can use this to basically suppress as I get away. So again, from the side, it's going to look like this. Step forward with the defense, back with the attack. Forward, back, and again, every time you do these kind of box steps, whether it's like standard forward box step versus a backwards or reverse box step, you can take advantage of moving sideways as well. So if I'm going to move sideways, it's going to look something like this. Or I can kind of come this way. Okay, so yeah, it's a really cool footwork pattern, which, if you think about it, should not be a surprise. This idea of attacking when you're going forward and defending when you're going backward makes good sort of tactical logical sense, but we're the ones imposing that assumption, right? And so as with a lot of what we do for our research, anytime there's like another variant or another combination of things that you've never explored, you better damn well explore it, just because we don't know what we don't know. And if there are, even if something doesn't seem to make sense tactically, this has happened so many times, even if it doesn't seem to make sense, spend long enough looking at the data, and you start seeing, oh, maybe this thing is this thing that we thought never would make sense, right? So it it only makes sense from my perspective to just try everything. Until you have tried everything several times, you're really not in a position to try to judge it. So yeah, so this combination now, instead of attack, defend, of actually defend, attack, starts to become really interesting and useful. And again, really not something that we sort of made up on our own. This is specifically pretty well documented and sort of implied. If you go back to our video looking at the winding cut coming from Joachim Meyer. So his winding cut, he talks very specifically about stepping out with the left and then withdrawing with a cut, stepping out again with the left. So even though he doesn't specifically say what's going on with the right, like the other possibility is this. I don't think so, right? So yeah, so I think that's pretty good evidence that we should at least be exploring the idea of actually stepping forward with the defense and then out with the attack or the offense. One other thing real quick, if I bring Andre back in here, is when we do that, right? So when he cuts in, it's not just here, it's actually here. So again, the sideways lateral component allows me to potentially get even further behind the opponent's sword and off to the side, where the opponent has a lot more difficulty actually getting to a point where they can get up and parry it. So yeah, keep all that stuff in mind. I know that under pressure tournament situations, there's a lot of linear footwork that tends to happen. And so again, that stuff definitely works, but I think there's a bigger toolbox, a bigger set of skills that maybe we have not yet fully explored or exploited in a way that allows us to become better fencers. So yeah, take that and run with it. How would we train it if we wanted to train it? So this is, again, where a lot of the frequency modus kind of flow work that we do is super helpful. We've already shown how to do this with this so-called standard box step. If we want to train this reverse box step, which, by the way, that's what I'm going to call it. I want to be really careful about that term. In the German tradition, Verkehren or Verkehrer, which is like reverser or inverter, can often have other meanings. So for instance, if I've got Andre here, if we just bind for a second, so reverse can mean, like, for my sword, I'm going to reverse it so that instead of point going one way, point's going to be going the other way, or I can verkehr him and turn him the other way, reverse him. So again, this word is already a little overloaded in the German tradition, to the best of our knowledge. But if the other way of looking at this is like, okay, here's standard box step from coming attack, defend. If I just want to reverse the order, defend, attack, I mean, reverse is really kind of the best English word for that. So that's why we're choosing to use it. So that being said, this reverse box step, if you wanted to train it, use something like frequency modus where we have a pattern and then practice the reverse pattern, and then at some point figure out how to glue them together, right? How do you do the transition? So here's an example of actually us starting with the standard box step, and then so Andre at some point will transition so that his defense actually is moving forward instead of backward. And then I will also have to transition at that same moment to actually switching my attack from going forward to backward. Okay, so we're going to transition from standard outstriking, standard box step to reverse box step. So here we go.
Transition back after?
No, let's just start with this. Yep.
Good.
Boom. So wasn't the cleanest on my part, but this is what that flow drill is intended to do, So if we just kind of set this up real quick for the sort of clean aspect of it. So if you just start, if you cut here, here, so if you step in here, so I'm starting my attack. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to do sort of 2 steps. I'm going to start here and then lean away. So it's boom, right? And then we're into it. And then since we know the other pattern so well, we find that we actually transition back to it pretty easily. So if we start with the reverse box step, I can barely tell you what we did, but like, you know, as soon as there's sort of like a half tempo change, we just kind of actually slip back into it. So figuring out these kind of transitions is actually part of the fun of this. These are, you know, these videos that we put out, a lot of the time this really is pretty new cutting edge type stuff that we are, you know, uncovering and exploring and discovering ourselves. So yeah, you're right along with the ride with us there as we kind of explore some of these new things. So enjoy, have fun, see if there's anything that we presented today that you can find useful.